Hello everyone, it is Froggy Friday, but not only that, it is Friday the 13th. So obviously we had to come up with a Friday Froggy special. So some creators have come up with some horror frogs today. It's cool to do in the middle of June. Yes, we're in the middle of June. So that is cool. So I hope you enjoy. I am covered in red splots from my creation today. So the only thing we can do is let's go play. Hello everyone and welcome to NERDGOBLIN Art. I'm Lula. Right, I've got my Froggy mould out because it is Froggy FriYAY and I'm using Magic Pour from Resin, and I also have Acrylic Inks or liquid acrylics, and I will list those in the description box below along with the Magic Pour which Resin very kindly sent me. In general, you can, many people do, measure out by weight the powder and water, but I prefer doing it to a consistency that I've become used to, which is almost like a pancake batter. So, as it's Friday the 13th today, a few of us decided to do horror-based froggies. So today I am going to be creating Froggy Voorhees. Yes, because it's a must and I've been looking forward to this, and it's so cool not to have to wait until Halloween or October time, or the fact that, you know, it shouldn't matter. You should be able to make things when you want to, because, you know, Halloween's not just for October, for the weird and spooky sort. So I'm mixing these colours in, and although those two greens look very similar, they are a bit different. The smaller bottle is bright green and it is just a regular acrylic ink. The larger bottle has a shimmer to it, and because he in the movie has like a really tight, like messed up face towards that, we don't really see much of it because of his mask, but it's like lots of scarring. So I thought I would put in a base colour which I'll mix in thoroughly, which I'm using the bright green for, into the mix. So as you can see, I'm mixing that thoroughly in, and then I'll add the more shimmery of the green, and I'm only going to slightly turn it like once, and then it's going to be like a marble effect, and I want that purely for it to look like a froggy discoloration of the skin. So just like that, a little bit of a swirl, and then pouring it into the mould. Now this mould is from Temu. Again, I will, if possible, if I can find the link, pop it in the description box below. But if I can't find it, or you don't see it there, it's listed as a waving frog. Now, if you have seen me cast this frog before, or any other creators, we all know that this froggy isn't waving. He's a rude little froggy, but he's perfect for what I want to create today. And in true fashion, well, not in true fashion actually, I'm usually really good at guesstimating amounts, and I didn't guesstimate quite enough, and I'm very nearly out of the Magic Pour, so I did have to add a little bit more, and thank goodness I had enough. I need to order some more of this Magic Pour because it is a really fantastic product, and I've enjoyed using it very much. So I just gave her a little bit of a squeeze just to encourage any bubbles from the bottom, and I managed to make a mess in the process, as you just saw, over my fingers. But it is fine. This stuff is good. You're not going to do any harm. It's also really easy to clean up as well, which is Very nice indeed. So I'm just moving that slightly out of the way. It only takes about 40 minutes to set up, which is great. And I only had a very, very small amount left over, and I'm just popping it into the heart mold because I had it close by, because I only used it just yesterday on Wednesday's video. And there's only a small amount to fill at the very bottom of the other heart. So that's absolutely fine because I can always take it out and use it again inside a make. I left it for about an hour. I'm crossing fingers that I can get it out. I was a little bit weary. Look at his bum. I was a little bit weary about possibly breaking an arm or finger. So that was the fingers crossed. So because these molds are so soft, and that is awesome. But look at his froggy butt. He has a froggy butt. But there we go. And I'm really pleased actually with the coloration on the face. The body is going to be getting painted. So I'm really chuffed that there's that difference in colour on the face, because as I said, you know, Jason Voorhees, you know, he's not a very, very nice looking person, whatever he happens to be. So there we go. I'm going to be leaving this for 24 hours before I do anything with it. And check that out. Isn't that beautiful? Very, very, very pretty. I quite like that. And the other one isn't full enough, but as I say, I'm just going to use it in another make maybe to help lift up a bit. Right, so I'm going to put it on the air and leave it for the day. So this is the following day. He's nicely dried out. And the first thing I'm going to do is, before I start painting, while I'm painting him, the mask is going to go into the oven. So I'm using Sculpey. It's a really nice brand, and it's great because you can put it in the oven. And that's what I like about it. I'm going to be creating the hockey mask. And I'm just putting it up by his beautiful face just to figure out the dimensions type thing. So just making it a bit smaller, because it's only a small clay make today. I don't feel the need to put in any foil inside, and there's no need for any use of wires, although in hindsight I possibly could have used wire, so I could have shaped it a little bit to go around the face a bit more, or I could have done other things. But I'm only thinking of those things right now. I'm actually only just remembering that I have cosplay, which is flexible. And I just thought of it, but there we go. So I'm just using my round stylus. That's what I call it. If it's the wrong word, tough. That's the name I've adapted for it now. Just to give a little bit of something to the edges, a little bit of shape, and it kind of ties it together a bit more. I realised that this shape is probably a human shape, so I'm going to put it sideways, cut that side bit off, and remember that this is for a frog, not for a person, so it didn't need the pointed chin. The different thing I'm going to be doing with this little clay make as well, when you look at pictures of the hockey mask, it has a slight raised part where the nose is. So because this particular froggy doesn't seem or really have a nose, I'm going to create where his mouth kind of slants, just for that little difference. Now, I don't have a great deal of like tiny little cutout tools. I realised this for cutting out perfect like little circles and things. But I did find this in one of my kits that I had when I first started using clay. It's like a half moon type thing, but I was able to get the circles out by doing, being careful and doing both ends. And there we go. So those are the eyes positioning. And again, I'm just checking it out on the frog model. So I'm happy with that. So just making a wormy dooly there. And as I said, because this is a frog and it's not a person, I'm going to create the little bit of difference in the mouth direction instead of a human nose. Just because, like I say, it's a frog. It's not too difficult either. It's just a very simple make. And I know that's easy to say if you don't do any clay work at all. But this isn't too bad. It's a circle. It actually makes me think of, you know, the happy face potato things, like the chips, McCain's or something like that, I don't know. But used to have for dinner as a kid, the smiley faces. But this one's not smiling, he's frowning. And I'm just using a dotting tool just to place in the hole marks of the hockey mask. And I did look up a picture so I could get kind of the same type of vibe as the one in the movie. But, you know, that's good. And I'm happy with that. And we'll paint it afterwards. So he'll have the red markings on there. But I'm going to do something I wouldn't normally do. I am going to be over baking. Yes, I want this to be burnt to save me time on painting it to look old and weathered, so to speak. So I am keeping a good close eye on it. There it is, and it's going to go into the oven, and we'll be back to that soon. So I'm going to paint up the froggy's body, and I'm using Citadel paints today. They're both layer paints, and they're both a blue and a greyish blue. You know me, I can never remember how to say the names of some of these paints, so that's why I show you and freeze a picture of them. Because sometimes I can't even say the name of the shade thingy that I'm going to be using in a minute, but there we go. Right then, I'm going to be painting the top part of the froggy first, as if, if memory serves, he's wearing basically like a t-shirt and a jacket or something like that. But I figured I'll just go for the blues, and we're going to be dirtying them up anyway. Whereas I would usually undercoat or do layers with starting with the darker and working my way up, I didn't feel the need on this project because I'm going to be dirtying the look up anyway, and it's going to be looking really messy. So make sure you get the cracks of that backside as well, as you can see. So that's basically what I'm doing. I'm going to be dirtying it up. He's just going to be basically looking untidy because, bless him, he's a bit rough, isn't he? Poor guy. So, what is Froggy Friday? Well, Froggy Friday is a collaboration started by Karen, the Dragon's Cave, and Lisa from Girl in the Garage, helped out by myself, Tim the Bass Resonator, and Gertie from Gert Creates. It is open to everybody, whether you're a new channel or whether you're a well-established channel. It doesn't matter, and it doesn't have to be just resin. You can colour it, you can paint it, you can do an interpretive dance, you can bake it. Just email one of us. All you got to do is check out our description boxes, or if you are looking to get some support, I have a link in the description box to our Discord group, and you're welcome to come along and join in. I'm just on to the more grayer blue, and this is his trousers, and I'm making sure to get in all the areas, and I'm going to go slightly over the feet also. I like the idea that the trousers are a bit long on him and just having his toes poking out at the bottom. I don't think I mentioned either at the beginning that the little bit of the magic pour that was between his legs, it was very, very thin. It's just the way the mold is designed, and I just cut that part away. It was very simple, just with a craft knife. So there you go. So this is Nuln Oil, and it is another Citadel paint, and it is awesome for grunging things up. Basically, it's like magic, and you don't need a lot of it. You can put it on, you can dab it off as well. That's the important thing to remember. And you don't necessarily have to have this type of thing either. If you want to grunge things up, you could do it with watered down burnt sienna. You could even use a concoction of isopropyl alcohol and any mica powders you might have that are, you know, in the browny coffee colours. So there are ways of doing it if perhaps you don't want to buy this Citadel sort, or if you can't afford it. We have it in because Mr. Goblin is a Warhammer 40k painter, so it's something that he always has on his desk, so I like to steal it. I'm even going to be doing all about the head as well. As much as that marble effect is absolutely gorgeous, it is also the fact that this is Froggy Voorhees, so he needs to have a grotty looking face and head. We're not going to see a great deal of his face anyway once it comes to the mask, but I'm leaving him to dry. So it worked perfectly. I was keeping a close eye on it. Your timings, you've got to know, you know, your heat and your timings. So basically I let it go a little bit longer than it should. So this is a contrast paint, and it is a brilliant contrast where blood is concerned, and any red basically. So in the first instance, I'm going to be using it just to create those markings on the hockey mask. And it is like a V shape at the top, and then there's two diagonal lines at the sides. I did have to look it up. Hockey isn't a huge thing in the UK, and I know it's a hockey mask, and I've seen the film a million times, but you don't always take in those smaller details. So I did have to have a look at the picture on my phone just to make sure. So I'm really happy with that and those markings, and I'm loving the burnt, grubby looking effect. So that is a very good paint to have. And again, if you don't have it, you can always just use primary reds, acrylic paint, poster paint, anything like that. So these are charms, believe it or not. I've had them since probably October. I bought them in, I can't remember where from, if I'm completely honest. They're not even charms. I believe they were nail art, like Halloween nail art stuff. How people get on with wearing things like that on their nails, I'll never know. But they're perfect for crafters and brilliant like that. So I am trying to get used to my new camera angle. My new camera arm is very different to my other one, and I'm so used to being more over to the left, and I can't be. So I do apologise. I'm just using my acrylic pen just to do the eyes. I'm just going for simplicity today. I didn't want to have to pull out my painting tile or anything. I was basically wanting to be a lazy painter today, so I figured I could just use my acrylic black pen from Arrtx. So this is Blood Angel, and again it's a contrast paint, and it is another Citadel. And like I say, you can do this with regular paints, just water it down. So I'm using my brush. This is like you can use a tough brush. This just happens to be one from the Art Sherpa range that I've had for a long time, and I use it for any star work, any speckly stuff, and it's pretty cool to use. And I'm also spraying up some of that red up the body as well. But I covered the face. I didn't want it all over his face because obviously he's wearing a mask. So, you know, you got to think of the blood splatter. Yes, we're talking about blood splatter. And in slow motion, we're going to splatter. And ready? Boop! All right, it is great fun. I absolutely love doing stuff like that. I got loads over my hands as well. I sent a picture to other in our Discord group. And at first, because I thought it's not real, a few people actually did think it was real blood on my hands. Oh dear. So I'm just using a little bit of the Nuln Oil on the mask as well. Although the blood is on there, I will give it another splat too. But I want it to have the impression that obviously that it's old and dirty, and also that there's already dried blood on his mask. I've also trimmed some material lacing, which is like a brown colour, which I'm going to use to create the straps of the mask. But I'm not going to show you the last parts of the video because I think you'd like a surprise. You'd like a reveal because there's not much of an unmoulding type thing going on today. So I'm just going to show you that that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to create it and put it around there so it goes onto his face. And I've also got a wood slice that I already have pre-painted that was just sitting in one of my baskets. So I'm covered in paint. It looks as if I've had a bit of an accident with a craft knife, but here he is. Check him out. Like I said, I put some extra splatter on him, and I also painted up some little froggy footprints in red. I'm so pleased. I think he's absolutely awesome, and I think he's perfect for Froggy the 13th. Yes. I hope you've enjoyed watching, and I really hope that you check out the playlist, which is linked down below. So many gifted artists take part every week. Thank you so much to my subscribers, and if you haven't subscribed, please consider doing so. It really helps my channel. Love you and stay weird.